Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Joe, and good evening, Derwynne, and bonjour, and welcome to the show.
Evening.
Hi, boys.
Comes to.
The show, we're a crowd of us are over here. I'm going to sound very posh now. My producer and my researcher are with me on this trip to Paris.
Are they the same person?
There's two people. Two people. One is up on the 10th floor. I'm down the 6th floor here, but I must say it's a very, very friendly place. But anyway, we'll have the usual suspects coming up on the show: soccer and rugby. A lot of rugby played over the weekend, golf, and of course Japan played Leblo here in Paris. And well, I should say they shared the football. They shared the football pitch with them, golf and tennis and snooker and whatever we get on. But over the weekend, I didn't see much of the soccer except after Friday. I was traveling, but I kept in touch anyway. So there was wins for Liverpool, Man United, Brighton, Newcastle, Ipswich, Brentford, Fulham, and Wolves, and Man City bit the dust again. They were beaten 2-1 by Brighton. So that means that Liverpool are 5 points ahead. Why I say that is it's a sizable gap. Did you see much soccer, Joe?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, and I only saw the Brighton match. But of course, Brighton, we shouldn't be surprised. Brighton are a decent team.
Brighton are a very decent team, but to be fair, City could have been out of sight in the first 15 minutes. They had 4 chances. There were really good chances that they could have. It could have been out of sight, and they actually played well. But it's still the same old problems that they're having. The same thing that happened to them against Porto in midweek.
Yeah.
They had total domination of possession, and then they caught him on 3 breakaways, and one led to the penalty. But down the right-hand side of the field. And it's the same happened in the Brighton match. They're getting torched down the right-back position. And, of course, if Haaland has scored his penalty in midweek, it might have been a totally different game. But they're still within striking distance. And we all know City can put 5 or 6, 7 games together where they win in a row. And let's be very honest here, we're looking at it, United now are 5 points behind 4th place, right? They're 5 points behind Arsenal. And I think there might be 6 behind Chelsea, because Chelsea are in 3rd position. But you have Arsenal, you have Brighton, you have Forest, I think are all on.
You have Chelsea, Arsenal, Forest, and Brighton all on 19 points.
Yeah. And United have got what, 14?
14, yeah.
Yeah. So they're 5 points behind. And United have gone through the worst start that you could possibly go through. And when United were talking about the injuries they had, and they still have, because they still have some of the top signings that they had in the summer, there was no sympathy for United whatsoever. But now Arsenal are going through a little bit of an injury thing, and their drop of form, and nobody's saying a word about it. It's all flying under the radar. The same with Man City. They're flying under the radar, so, and they've lost 4 in a row. So, all of a sudden...
My own amateur opinion about Man City is that Eric Haaland is not as effective as he was last year with Man City. And I think that's down to the fact that most of the teams know, and it's a stupid thing to say, I know, they have organised a way to mark him out of the game, keep him out of the game. Yeah, Derwynne, what do you think?
I think City are just struggling at the moment, aren't they? They've got injuries. I know. I nearly get the feeling that Guardiola's just not that bothered anymore about it. I get the feeling he's gone off the boil with it.
Yeah.
because you know the other day he got interviewed on one of the Football Focus, I think, on BBC, and they said to him, like, if you lose this weekend, that'll be 4 on the trot. You've never done that before. And he was really quite. He was like, yeah, well, if we lose, we lose. If we win, we win. I mean, like that.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
he would have got narky about that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, more detail. And your new boss, Mr. Amarim, has even though 2 of the coaches with Derek Ten Hag had still good bit of time left to their contracts. No, they were given their P45, and even Van Nistelrooy, who had a contract till 2026, goodbye, not needed by the new man. The new man is bringing in his own team, which is a good sign.
Go on, Darren.
Joe. No, go on.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the same's been said for everyone else. You know, I mean, let's be honest. Mourinho brought his own guys in. Van Gaal brought his own guys into United. Ten Hag brought his own guys in. And so, I mean, I say that Amarin has brought 5 coaches with him. You know, again, you know, fair play. It's all well and good and what have you, but you know, it'll all come down to, you know, they're on a good bit of a run right now, so he's walking into a good situation.
He is.
You know, so,
there's a break coming up for the Nations League now this week, and so he has an assessment period before his first real competitive game in the Premiership.
Right.
I think that's against Ipswich. Is it Man United's next match?
Yeah. So I mean,
Ipswich. Then West Ham, I think.
Yeah. So realistically, you know, it doesn't get much easier than that. 2 teams, you know, that you're getting coming up. So it's just going to be interesting to see what happens. You know, I mean, Liverpool are flying, but they haven't had anything go wrong yet. They've had no injuries. They've had no dodgy results. You know, so that will happen. There's no doubt about it. It always happens in a season. Teams always have a little bit of a stutter along the way. But it's going to be interesting because City play Liverpool at Anfield in a couple of weeks. I think 2 or 3 weeks. I think they get Southampton first when they come back, Liverpool, and then they have City. So that's going to be interesting. City's biggest problem, and I don't know that Guardiola has kind of lost it a little bit of his competitive urge, if you like. But you know, he's without Rodri, and Rodri was a huge loss to that team. An absolutely huge loss. And Kovacic is a fine player, but he's not Rodri. He's a different player. No. And Rodri is the guy that would snuff out the fires as they were happening and allowing the fullbacks to push on, and he would sniff the danger out, and he would put it out before it got dangerous. And we even saw early in the season when he was being rested that they weren't firing on all cylinders. So he's been a big loss to them. But then, you know, they also have John Stones out. He's not been around. So, and I was looking at their injury list. There's a couple of other guys that they have out as well. And to the point of Haaland, you can say that, you know, other teams have found out how to play him and what have you. But he's still the leading goal scorer in the Premier League.
He is.
You know? So
I think the other thing, Joe, is Gundogan isn't the same player as he was before.
No, he's not, and he's come back, and he's still finding his way back in. I think.
Yeah.
Phil Foden is not operating at his best at the moment. And of course, Kevin De Bruyne only just came back in the midweek against Porto. He'd been out for weeks. So you're looking at, three guys here that were hugely influential in their last, in their last couple of years. And they're not playing at their best. So and then you have the Rodri situation. So you're bound to have a bit of a blip, but there's still only, 2 wins behind Liverpool, and they get to play them. So that becomes a huge game.
It does.
At Anfield. So there's a lot of stuff going, if I was, the ones I'd be worried about if I was a fan would be Aston Villa. I mean, they're flying under the radar here and they've lost 4 in a row.
True. And during our trip out to the Stade de France, I met a man in the queue. We were chatting away. He was from Denmark with his family. And we were reminiscing about Denmark's win in the European Championship,
Right. Yeah.
And he said the reception in the Copenhagen when they came back, because as you know, for people who mightn't know this, Denmark didn't qualify for that European Championship,
Yeah,
and
they were all on the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were all on holidays. He was telling me the coach, they were all scattered all over the world on holidays. The team, the coach, everybody else. He said, you need it back here. Your man was telling me, the chap I was talking to, the story about the coach. He said, for what? He said, you're playing in the European Championship. And the coach thought it was just a wind up, Said, but there you go.
There's a great story about Schmeichel.
Yeah.
Schmeichel was on holiday in Portugal with his family.
Yeah.
And his phone went and said, you need to get back. We've got into the Euros. And he hung up. And it went on the next day. The same thing. He just, in the end, I think he was saying like, oh, bugger off sort of thing. Leave me alone. I'm on holiday. And kept turning his phone off. And somebody from the Dutch FA had to fly down to Portugal and find him and walked up to him on the beach and said, I know you keep hanging up, but we've actually got back in. We're back in. We need you to go. And he was sitting on the beach in his swimming trunks, and literally he's like, are you serious? And he's like, we've been trying to get hold of you for 2 days. You keep hanging up on us. And he had to explain to the family and kids that I've got to
fly. He had to fly down to Portugal.
He had to fly down to Portugal to find him because he wasn't answering his phone.
Yeah. Well, it was an amazing story, and then of course, as we know, for them to win it was just something else, really,
Oh, yeah, fairy tales, isn't it?
But he said the reception the team got was just, of course, we were talking about Kasper Schmeichel, of course, talking about Peter Schmeichel as well, who is far, and they've been incredible players for Denmark. But if you ever go to Paris and you get to Stade France, the museum in there is just fantastic. The museum, I'll just play this a little bit. This is not ego now or anything. This is just Pat Barry here, folks, on SportsView on NerdMedia.tv. I'm here in the citadel of sport in North France, and we're doing the tour of the stadium, Stade de France. And right behind me, you can see is the goal post. The goal post behind me is the spot where Thierry Henry handballed the ball into the Irish net during that infamous game. But it's a lot more than this. It's a fantastic stadium. It's an 80,000 seater stadium, and we'll be doing another little report on our guide, who's a fanatical soccer fan of his own anyway, So just to let you know, I'll be with you on Monday as I am every Monday night. So Pat Barry reporting for SportsView, over and out. The stadium there, of course, the seats, if you saw behind it, were leading down to the pitch. That whole row of seats onto the pitch all around the stadium, that was the running track for the Olympics. And it takes 5 days manually to take all of those seats back out to expose the running track. Your man was telling us, it's all done. But it's just an incredible experience, and you know, just the amount of people there on Sunday. And we went there on Sunday was, you know, but they have a shop as well. That's where I bought the hat and other things as well. But they have a coffee shop there. You know, there's things for the kids to do as well. We went into when it was built. There's a home and away dressing room, as you know, in each stadium. You know, that makes sense. But the first major game to be played there was between France and Brazil in that World Cup in '98. Was it '98 World Cup? France and Brazil, was it? 98 World Cup, I think it was. Yeah.
I don't know.
And France were used the away dressing room because the alphabetical order of the team was Brazil and France for the World Cup final. It's the only one they do now. They'll be home and away, but even though France were the home team, they used the away dressing room. And as you know, they won the World Cup, and they kept on using the away dressing room because of that bit of luck they had right up to 2011 from '98.
Wow.
They used the away dressing room, you know, and I thought it was just magnificent. So that's the away dressing room that they use from up to 2011. I thought it was an interesting tidbit, you know. But over the weekend, as we said, we had the Sheffield derby over the weekend as well in the championship. Sheffield United versus Sheffield Wednesday, and United won that 1-0.
How many was at the match?
Huh?
Does it say how many was at the match? Does it say?
No.
When Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday met on, I want to say, Easter Saturday, in the third division.
Yeah.
Back in 79-80, it was 49,000 people at Hillsborough for the game, for a third division game.
My God. They love their soccer up there, don't they?
And both teams were at the towards the top of the third division at the time.
Yeah.
So it was quite something for that.
Yeah, I like those. I like Sheffield United, but they won 1-0 anyway in the championship. But at the moment, in the championship at the moment in Britain, you have Sunderland on top with 31, Sheffield United with 31 points, Leeds with 29, Burnley with 27, West Brom with 25, and Watford with 25. And Joe, I know it's that Grimsby had won over the weekend.
They did.
In the third division.
5 away games in a row they've won, I think.
They're up now in the playoff positions in League 2. Port Vale, Notts County and Walsall are in the first three, 30, 27, 27. Doncaster 27, Crewe Alexander 25, MK Dons 24, along with Grimsby 24. So they're in the playoff position. They've done well, really, you know.
Right. So, and that's without them winning a home game in the last 5 games.
I sent an email. We've adopted a team here in the lads of Vilafranca, Bonnie Rig Rose in Division 2 up in Scotland. We like the name of the team. They had a win over the weekend, but I'm hoping to interview either the secretary or the chairman of the club in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So that should be a bit of fun, because a lot of characters. I like people involved in soccer clubs like that. They always have some hairy stories to tell, and unusual ones to come across. These are what makes soccer exciting, and to follow and to watch as well, in my opinion, anyway, Over the weekend, we had the rugby internationals as well. They call them the autumn internationals, but as far as I'm concerned, they should be called the November internationals because November is the winter. November, December, and January, the 3 winter months. But I'm just being pedantic. But anyway, there you go. Ireland were stuffed Friday night in Dublin by the All Blacks. And they were beaten very well, 23-13, but wasn't the score so much as was the performance. And, there's a lot of, I suppose, it's unfortunate in one way. A lot of players are showing their age, or too many together in one team showing their age, for the fair. I think, anyway, there has to be serious changes taken by Andy Farrell, who's distracted at the moment with his role as the coach of the Lions tour, the Lions. So I think that
he's finished now, though, isn't he?
Huh?
He's finished now with Ireland, isn't he?
Well, he's a part-time coach, so even though he's getting paid the money for being a full-time coach.
No, but what I mean is he's not looking after the next couple of matches for Ireland.
No, I think he'll have an input on because there has to be serious changes made. They're playing Argentina next Friday night, and that will be a tough match,
Yeah, but I think they've got a caretaker manager now, haven't they? Because he's not going to be there full time. He's not going to be there for the Six Nations for Ireland at all.
Yeah, they haven't anybody appointed yet.
Yeah, I think they have. I think they have.
You know more than me.
Well, I don't know. I heard it on when I was watching the Wales-Fiji game.
Yeah.
And they were talking about it, and then they talked about it again on the radio.
Oh, right.
They've appointed someone to look after the team for the next couple of internationals and the
Six Nations.
Six Nations.
Oh, that's interesting now.
He's an old player, an Irish player. Because he takes up. No, he's. I think he's on the coaching staff, O'Connell. I can't think of his name.
It's not Paul O'Connell anyway, I know that. Yeah.
No, it's not him.
No. England were beaten by Australia 37-42 in the international as well, I thought England played very well. I saw a good bit of that match, But France, as I said, over here in Paris, France beat Japan 52-12. That was just not really a good match. And Argentina thumped Italy 50 points to 18. Wales were beaten by Fiji 24-19. And Scotland were beaten by South Africa by 32-15, who I think is the number one team in the world today playing rugby, South Africa. They're just a brilliant team, And it'll be interesting to see what will happen when they come to Ireland, But,
I think the Wales game was really good.
Yeah.
It was a great game. And there was some refereeing decisions in there that I don't get. I mean, I had that Fiji player got sent off. I mean, he made contact with the guy's head, yes, but it wasn't like we've all seen deliberate making contact.
Was it accidental?
It was much more accidental than it was deliberate.
Yeah.
I mean, the Welsh lad got Tom Revel got sent off. Not sent off, but got sin binned. And it was exactly the same thing. He got sin binned, and then they went to that, that
TMO
thing.
Yeah.
And the Fiji player got sent off, and then literally, I think it was 3 minutes into his sin bin or 5 minutes into his sin bin.
He was upgraded to
it was upgraded to a dangerous tackle, and it was no different to the Welsh lad's tackle.
I don't understand that. How it could be a yellow card, and then it's upgraded to a red card. If it's a red card offence, it's a red card offence at the beginning, not at the end. You know.
And there were so many forward passes in that game of rugby the other day. That was unbelievable. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Well, no, there were some hairy decisions in the match with the All Blacks and Ireland Friday night that you just give up complaining because you wouldn't enjoy the match, you know. There's
Yeah.
an Australian referee as well, you know, in the Ireland.
Yeah, it was really bitty, wasn't it? He didn't keep it moving at all, did he?
There was a horrific number of penalties. I couldn't understand it, you know. I mean, really, some of the players were just absolutely. The players on both sides were mesmerised by some of the things, you know. And then All Black cleared out an Irish scrum by the hand on the ground, and it led to a try. But it wasn't picked up at all. It was picked up by the TMO, and it wasn't called back.
Yeah, but Wales had the same thing. One of the rucks, the Fijian wasn't holding himself up on his own. It was he had his one hand on the ground, trying to scoop the ball away. And again, it never got called back. That's what I don't quite understand with this TMO thing.
Wales are playing well. I know they were beaten, but they're playing well.
Well, I nearly want to say that if they carried on the way they played on Sunday in the Six Nations, they wouldn't be a bad dark horse bet.
One of the other teams spoken about is Scotland have a good team, a decent team as well. I know they were beaten by South Africa, but as I said, I think South Africa are head and shoulders above all other teams. They're just a brilliant rugby team.
Yeah, well, anyone would have problems with South Africa. I think you're right, though, Derwynne. I mean, we watched the Six Nations last year, and Wales just couldn't put two halves together in a game.
No, yeah. They were shocking, weren't they?
Yeah. I mean, they put a half together. Remember that game against Scotland when they had Scotland? They got hammered in the first half, and then in the second half, Scotland were barely hanging on to, I think, win it in the finish.
That's right.
Yeah, and I mean, they had so many young players that they were getting in there that eventually that's going to stand you in good stead. These guys have had the experience of it now. They know what it is to be in these big games. So you might well be right.
You know, that fullback, Cameron Winnett, yesterday was different class. I mean, he was really good. Anscombe stepped up and was really dominant. And, you know, with Fiji, whenever you play, I don't care who it is, Ireland, England, Wales, whoever, you know Fiji are going to try and run it from everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's their nature.
They run it from the bus when they get off.
Yeah, they run after it, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, just got off it. But, I mean, Wales played really good. They were a bit unlucky yesterday. You know,
well, all the reports I read about it is they deserve to win the match.
So what happened? So go on. You're saying about
go on, Joe. No, go on.
No, I was going to ask a question, nothing to do with that, but go ahead.
They just played really well, and it's a whole team of youngsters. But they all like you just said, Joe, they look like they've stepped up another level from last year, and they're starting to. I nearly want to say they're starting to believe in it a bit.
Yeah.
You know, they were back running the ball again, like Wales are sort of famous for. Yeah. They just run the ball.
The days of Barry John.
When it was like, and Anscombe were very, very good. And then they've got this new centre called Jack Morgan.
Yeah.
And Gatland's not playing him from the beginning. He's bringing him on with like 25 minutes to go and 30 minutes to go in the second half. And he stepped up another league as well yesterday. He just battered some of those Fijians, and they're huge. That Fiji team's huge.
Oh, they're massive men. Massive men. You know?
It
But
was a good game of rugby, even though they lost.
is Gatlin one of the top coaches in world rugby?
I
I
think
think
you'd
he's
have to say from his record, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's a fine coach. You know, I mean, there's some things that you walk into, like the Welsh situation. I mean, everyone knew what
I know. Yeah, I
that was
know.
like when he walked in there. You know, and he's not going to be working miracles overnight with what they had, because they had so many senior players and guys that were coming to the end of it, right?
Yeah.
So it was like starting from scratch again,
Yeah.
and he's done a great job. You know, I think he's always been a very good coach.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I mean, when you think of the treatment meted out to him when he was in Ireland, it was just scandalous, you know. But
Yeah.
since that's for another day. In golf, I would ask you, Darwin, before, and I forget it. Paul Waring, he won the Abu Dhabi International the weekend, you know, over in the where was it?
In Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi. 1.35 million he won anyway. But how does he qualify to win his tour card in the United States when he was playing in a DP event?
So what they've done now, because the tours have all joined up together
Right.
to try and outdo Live, they've got the top 10 players who aren't already exempt for the US tour now get cards for the US tour.
Right.
Now, he won't get into any of the big US tour events. He won't get into Phoenix. He won't get. He'll get the next tier down. He'll get into all of them, and he'll be another one. And what the players are kicking off about over here is that the management of the tour. Do you not understand that these guys? Waring wants to be in America.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody on that top 50 on the order of merit in the European tour wants to be in America.
Because the money is there and they'll have the sun in their back.
But all the European tour have done now is they've just basically jettisoned 30 players in reality, because they're all going to go to be based in the States, and they'll play all the B tour events really. And they'll get the A tour events, but they won't get.
There's incredible prize money there. They're all $1 million plus.
Oh, they're way past $1 million.
Yeah.
Way past that. But what the European tour now has basically just become another feeder tour to the US tour.
Yeah.
So it's set up for a long time.
Yeah, but it's really gone that way now, Joe, because they're giving US cards away for playing well in Europe.
Yeah.
I mean,
so what's the highest prize in Europe?
Well, that one yesterday was 1.3. But apart from the British Open, that'll be the biggest. But you have the BMW.
No, it'll be the end of season event next week in Dubai.
Dubai, yeah, but he
Not
got
the Dubai Classic.
But that's considered a European event, even though it's in Dubai. Okay.
Yeah, Shane Lowry the good tournament. He finished at minus 18, 6 shots behind and he was down in 5th or 6th place. He got $186,000. You know, good weekend. And the one on the PGA Tour, the Worldwide Technologies event in America, was won by Ekrot, ECKRORT. People who follow golf would know who he is. I don't know who he is. I'm not a big golf fan. Minus 24, he finished at the final round of 63. I mean, they're still shooting the lights out on those courses, as we all say. If you're not minus 20 or better under, you won't win a tournament in the United States.
No, I mean, they everybody can understand that when they play the majors, the golf courses are cranked up. They're tougher. They're all the rest of it. They're not resort courses. They're actually proper golf clubs. But every other event really you know, even the one in Phoenix, the waste management one in Phoenix is a resort course. It's a TPC course, but it's a resort course. If the three of us went to play golf in Vegas, we'd play that golf course because you want to play it because it's on the telly. But it's a resort course. It's not a proper golf club like, say, like Augusta is, like Hoylake is, or Sunningdale, or it's not, County Down, for argument's sake. That's a members club. Portrush is a members club.
Yes.
But if they played events at Portrush every day, 8 under might win it for 4 rounds because you've got the wind, the rain, the rough.
Yes.
Right. Well, when you go and play the resort courses, there is no rough.
That's why, course.
Yeah, I mean, they're like manicured lawns,
Yeah, and you've got no, other than the majors and maybe the Players' Championship. You're dependent on the weather and the actual severity of the golf course to stop them shooting the lights out.
Yeah.
And every other event is an open event to basically shoot the lights out. I mean, Paul Waring's a really nice lad, and he's been out on tour a long time with no real success, shall we say.
He's 32 or 33 now.
Yeah, he's earned a great living, don't get me wrong. But he's not a superstar.
Right.
And for him to go and win in Abu Dhabi, it was his week, and the putter worked, and everything was heading his way.
Yeah, I saw him being interviewed. Where's he from?
He's like from Sussex. He's a really nice lad.
Yeah. Good. I hope he does well in America anyway. What about our friend Bernard Langer, 67 years of age? He won the Charles Schwab Cup over the weekend in Arizona, minus 18 prize rounds, and I think he's an amazing man to be going for nearly 50 years playing golf.
He's incredibly fit, and
he must be.
I mean, you have to laugh. I mean, when he first came out on the European tour, he was sponsored by a clothing company, a German clothing company called Bogner. Then he made it really big, and he went off to Adidas, being German, right?
Yeah.
And when he went back out and onto the seniors tour, he didn't have a contract with Adidas for clothing.
Yeah.
And Bogner picked him up again and said, we want to support you.
Yeah.
What the people at Bogner couldn't understand, he was exactly the same size as he was when he was 24.
Jeepers.
Literally. His measurements,
oh, yeah, for the clothing, yeah.
For the clothing. His measurements were exactly the same when he was 50 as he was when he was 24.
Jeez. I'd want to hold my breath. I'd want to hold my breath for a long time anyway.
We all need to do that.
Why don't mess with me?
Let's be very honest, though. He didn't look like a fella that liked a good time. You watch him all the time.
It's very. I mean, obviously, he's very religious. He's very.
Did you ever meet him?
I played with Langer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Langer, amazing character. I mean, he's a really nice person. Really nice. On a golf course, he barely talks to you, but at the same time, he's just very methodical. I remember playing a practice round with him one year, and Pete Coleman was caddying for him, an English lad. He used to have big curly hair, like an afro type thing.
Yeah.
And he was caddying for him, and I stood on one hole, and he picked his golf bag up, and he went, Jesus Christ. And picked it up, and I looked at him and I went, "What's the matter?" And he went, "This bag." He had 3 sets of golf clubs in that bag.
3 sets.
He had 3 sets. So he had 3 irons, 3 4 irons, 3 5 irons, and what he was doing was He had a felt tip pen in his pocket, and every time he hit a good shot, so if he hit a 6-iron into the second green,
Yes.
he hit 3 6-irons, right? And the best result with that 6-iron, he put a tick on the back of the head, and that was going to be the 6-iron for the set that he was going to use in the tournament.
What about the caddy?
And,
was he sweating at the end of it?
Oh, Pete Coleman was absolutely shattered. And he literally went, Jesus Christ. Like, I mean, I'll never forget Pete picking the bag up. I can't say what he actually really said.
Yeah, right.
But it was along the lines of, it was along the lines of bloody hell, like that, shall we say. But he had 3 sand wedges. He had, well, I say 3 sand wedges. He had something like 7 sand wedges because they were all different bounce and different lie angles to them because he was going to experiment. So we kind of, when you play practice rounds on the tour, if you miss the green, you hit another shot. You're allowed to. But back then, you could hit as many as you wanted into the green. But when he got round the green, he would just go and hit 15 bunker shots out of every bunker. And you'd walk off to go to the next hole because you've got people behind doing the same thing, playing a practice round. But Langer just carried on hitting bunker shots while they were crashing shots in. And then he'd run up to the tee and catch up with you. But in some practice rounds, he would hit one ball down the right, one up the middle and one up the left. And then try and work out what was the best angle to come in at.
Well, obviously, another thing to be said in his favour, just Bernard Langer, is his good health. His good health is standing him at 67 years of age to be able to, get around like that, And he's very supple. He's very fit. He's very fit as well, And
no, he looks the same. He looks the same as he did when he was 25.
I don't know. Someone asked him, like, is he when is he going to stop? Said, when what you call when you bring the club back over your
backswing.
Your backswing. When I can't get it over my first shoulder, I stop then. When
I played with him in the World Under-25s in Nimes in the south of France.
Yeah.
And I played the first 2 days with him. And it was at the time when he couldn't putt. I mean, he had the yips like you can't imagine.
Yeah.
And he hit it from tee to green where you were feeling really sorry for him all the way around because from tee to green, he just knocked the flags out. Yeah. And I watched him on one hole, hit this par 4, he hit something like 3-iron into this par 4 to about 8 feet. And he hit his 4th putt from about 15 feet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Where he completely yipped it. I mean, when I say yipped it, you got to the point where I didn't watch him putt the second day because it was just like the world's biggest yip. I can't describe it.
Yeah.
But he was hitting his first putt further away than he was for the second shot.
Did the same thing happen, David Duval?
Yeah, well, Duval had a few more issues though off the course and stuff.
I know that. I remember watching him in his heyday. It was just fantastic, when he was playing good golf.
Yeah, I mean he was phenomenal, but he had he more had a breakdown than he did have an issue with his golf game. It was more of a breakdown that he had.
Yeah. Well, fabulous golf.
I was wondering what happened to him because he was a terrific player. He looked like he was going to dominate there for a long while.
He did. David Duval. He was
something else.
As I say, he was in the winners' enclosure a lot. We've been a nostalgia now for people. We like to play a bit of nostalgia.
Error on the right take the field against England at Dalymount Park. 45,000 people see Noel Cantwell begin the game in the right way for Ireland by winning the toss. Everybody on the ground, the English team especially, knows that it's always a tough match meeting Error in their own country. Johnny Byrne puts his white-shirted English teammates in action. England click into form. Byrne shoots, and Noel Dwyer can't completely get the ball away. It goes to George Eastham, and it's a goal for England. Ireland do everything they can to hit back. The opportunity is thrown away by poor finishing. Waiters is in trouble in the English goal. England attack again, and it's a real goal-mouth scramble. The ball goes to Byrne. Another goal for England. Now Ireland has set themselves. Cantwell's header is only a little off the target. Playing up to international form, centre-forward Johnny Byrne gets in another shot, but doesn't have any luck. Ayres' persistence is rewarded just before half-time. Right half Freddie Strahan gives Waiters no chance. Ayres 1, England 2 at half-time. The Irish are 1 goal down, a deficit they're confident they can soon remedy. In the England goal, Waiters makes Balaam shoot wide. A shot by Greaves doesn't worry Noel Dwyer. England try again, and once more it's the irrepressible Jimmy Greaves on the warpath. Goal! Ireland are now 2 goals in arrears, though they're anything but downhearted. There are misses on both sides in plenty. Near the close, Greaves fails with a header. At the end, it's England 3, Ireland 1. A sporting game enjoyed by all.
The old black and white, that's Jimmy Greaves. There's some great names there, lads, on both sides. You know, Noel Cantwell, of course, and United man as well.
Yeah, that was in those days. That was the only football you'd ever see on TV. Or it was actually on Patty News at the
cinema
movie theater. Yeah,
yeah.
That was the only stuff you ever saw.
I thought it was interesting. I came across it during the week, and I thought it was very interesting. But Noel Cantwell finished. Did he finish his career with Cardiff City? I remember, was it?
You know, I don't know if he finished with Cardiff or not, but
Can't remember now. I can't remember.
He was manager of Coventry.
Oh, didn't he play in Wales? All right, he played in Wales.
Did he play in Wales? I don't remember, to be honest. I really don't. I know that.
One of the top referees in English soccer is under suspension, as we know at the moment. David Coote. Because of a video that's going around of his remarks about Klopp, going back to Klopp and Liverpool. I don't know why they only surfaced out somebody, I suppose, but I didn't realise to become a professional referee, one of the questions you had to declare is what soccer team or town do you support yourself, you know? And I didn't know that myself. David Coote supports Notts County, Nottingham County, Notts County. But as a result of that, he doesn't get any Nottingham Forest games, you know, in the league, as we know. I didn't realise they were that strict about things, you know.
They're investigating it, aren't they? Because they think it's all AI produced and all the rest of it.
They're suspending them until the investigation is carried out over it. But as a result of that, I came across that the form you fill in to become a referee and the questions you ask and all of that. I suppose there'd be there possibly could be betting and all this scandals and all these things associated with it. Because the referee can actually affect the whole match. He could put off a goalkeeper, for instance. You know.
Yeah. I remember back in the old days, there were referees from Leicester. One was Hill. He was one of the top referees at the time, and he would referee our third team games midweek. He was a headmaster of a school, and just to get games in midweek, locally, he would referee our third team games. Another one was Roger Kirkpatrick. I don't know if you remember him.
Remember him,
Mr. Pickwick, and he was another local. And the only time I ever saw those guys was after I left Leicester, and they do games. But it was like that all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
you never got your hometown
No.
teams.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I suppose I can see now why you wouldn't. Why you wouldn't. Particularly now with the amount of money involved in the game as well. In the wrong
Oh, yeah.
places. In the wrong places still sometimes. Snooker, the top Chinese player Ding Junhui, who we all know. He had his first win. He won the international tennis or international snooker tournament in what was the name of it? Nanjing over the weekend. He beat Chris Wakelin, who's been having a fantastic time the last couple of weeks in the snooker world. A nice fella, but he lost the final 10-7. But he had put Ronnie O'Sullivan and John Higgins and Murphy out of the tournament in the 3 different rounds. So he had a fabulous tournament. So there you go, another name. The tennis world, they are coming to the end of both tournaments now, both in the men's and the women's. And Coco Gauff America won the end of season tournament in the women's, and she beat Zheng from China, who's made a huge impression in the rankings this year. Anyway, she's a fabulous player. She beat her in 3 sets, 3-6, 6-4, 7-6. That was Coco Gauff. Over in Saudi Arabia, I think she won something like $2.6 million, which is a nice haul of money for her. She's only 20, still only 20 years of age, but she's really come on a lot in the last 12 months herself. Of course, your man is still playing the Indian tournament, Sinner. There's still investigations going on. I suppose they want to come to a conclusion about that until the end of the year, by the look of things. And then Sinner is playing at the tournament at the men's side. And he won his match over the weekend. And Alcaraz was beaten again by Holger Rune, which is, I don't know what's happening to the man. I think myself, and I think he's bulked up too fast in 12 months. That's me. That's my own personal opinion. That's Alcaraz himself. He looks to be has filled out very quickly. Muscular. I suppose that would have an effect on you, would it?
Yeah, I mean it does. I mean when guys bulk up like that quickly, they tend to lose a little bit of.
Would you lose speed?
Yeah, you'd lose speed and a little bit. You're trying to get your timing back again. I mean it's the same with guys playing golf. I mean if they're bulking up muscle wise,
Yeah.
they have to adjust their swing, Derwynne, right? I mean,
Yeah,
they'd
I mean
have
that's
to catch up on that.
when DeChambeau bulked up a couple of years ago when he went into all that big bulking up.
Yeah.
He was, because he's so clever, he actually adjusted his clubs accordingly. So his clubs got heavier. So they felt the stuff in comparison to him bulking up. Instead of them feeling lighter in his hand because he was so much stronger, he did the opposite. He made his clubs heavier. So they felt the same as they did before.
He had the same feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Oh, that makes sense.
He worked out, some kind of algorithm on it that if I make the clubs X amount heavier, they'll feel the same as they did before I bulked up. So he was trying to sort of, his clubs came, if he bulked up, so his clubs bulked up as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Real Madrid had a win over the weekend, 4-0 against Osasuna, and the hat-trick by Vinicius and Jude Bellingham got the other one. And I promised our guy that I did a short interview with him, a minute, 20 seconds. Amir Sultan. Amir, we'll be watching this later on. Thank you for all your kindness in our trip out to the Stade de France. But he was a Barcelona fan. I'm sad to say we hadn't resulted much. It doesn't play till Sunday night anyway. Barcelona, they were beaten 1-0 by Real Sociedad. So anyway, everyone has their own idea. So we'll go over, before we finish, we'll go over to that interview that he did with Amir Sultan, the guide on the Stade de France. are here, folks. Well, now it's one of those nights here in the hotel. I haven't been drinking. I don't drink myself. Just in case people might wonder who are watching this. There's only
Is this
there's
going to
only
be? Is this going to be on the Christmas blooper tape?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. There'll be a lot on that, right? Yeah, I'll never forget what's his name. Yeah.
God, goodness me, I don't know where she's at. I have to blame someone for this. I don't know where it's gone in the.
Joe,
We
if
lost.
you want to watch something really funny, go on your iPad and Google Bradley Walsh, The Chase, Anton Deck.
Right.
You've got to watch it. It's like 10 minutes where you will not stop laughing.
What's it called?
Bradley Walsh, The
Toothpaste is a deadly, deadly poison.
No, I don't know where it's gone.
So, Derwynne, I had a question for you. You remember that Welsh lad that went over to try out in the NFL and didn't make it?
Rhys Zammit.
Yeah. What happened to him? Is he back playing rugby?
No, he got binned by
Kansas City.
Kansas City binned him, and now he's playing for like a second division team over there. He's not in the NFL as such. He's playing whatever the next league down is.
Oh, okay. So whatever is down from it. Yeah.
He's still pursuing the dream of being a running back or whatever he was going to be. Rhys Zammit.
Yeah.
Where was he from?
I think he played for Cardiff. I think he was Cardiff Blues, and then he did that shock like the night before. I think they were playing. Wales were playing New Zealand or Australia or something, and he walked in the team room and said, "Oh, I've been selected to the NFL academy, so I'm not going to play. I'm getting out of rugby."
Yeah.
He told them the night before the match.
Oh, goodness. A bit late. And did he make it? No.
No, he was like the talk of the town sort of thing out there for a month or so. And then he got picked up by the Kansas Chiefs, I think it was, Joe, like you said.
Yeah.
And then he got binned when it got down to the draft time or whatever, the actually money on the table time. He got binned and he ended up.
Derwynne, I suppose you'll be at Wembley next week with the England versus the Republic of Ireland. Will you be at the match?
Well, I'm hoping to be. I've got a mate who's got some tickets, so
good. I suppose it'll be 1-0 for the Republic, will it?
I don't know how to break this to you too gently, but I'm going. Hey, look.
I'd say they're more organised now than they were when they met him in the first round of the Nations League. I'll talk about Ireland themselves as a team. They're more organised. They have a lot more quality in the side as well. And I hope they'll give them. Is it Thursday night? I think it is. I hope they'll give them a game of it anyway. But I mean, obviously,
you've got Finland first, haven't you? Yeah, because England are playing Greece tomorrow night. I think.
If we've got better players, then where are these better players coming from? Why were they not picked before? Some
of the players were overlooked, as it often happens with a turbulent period in a team when people when you have about 14 people giving you advice,
Yeah.
And a bit of disorganization. These things would do happen, but I think there's a bit of solid thing. I'm only thinking out loud. I'm only hoping out loud, but I hope they'll give them a game anyway, But I think obviously England will win the match. I can't see them losing the match.
Yeah. I'd just be. The only questions I'd ask about stuff like that, when you said they look better organized now, and we have better players. But isn't that a manager's first job, to organize his team properly?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that doesn't say a lot about the previous regime, that if they weren't organized. I mean, I know he wanted to play a certain way, but you still have to organize your team properly.
Of course you do. Of course.
So yeah, it's going to be really interesting if this guy comes in and does a lot more with this team, with this group of players, than the previous manager was able to get out of them.
Yeah, I agree. Anyway, we wish both teams the best, Derwyn. Obviously, I wish my own team slightly the best.
Hey, there's no slightly about it. We're calling in favours. We've got people going to Lourdes and saying novenas and all that kind of stuff.
I was in the church today on the Sacre Coeur, the said that saint whose body is preserved. Said,
did you go to Notre Dame and say a prayer for us?
We're not going there till tomorrow, I think.
Tomorrow,
we were in the other place today, and we were in another cathedral the other night. So
you go to Notre Dame nowadays to see the scaffolding, don't you?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, Lily the Pink. But scaffold the group, Lily the Pink. Yeah, we'll be that on tonight. What am I doing later on? Anyway, lads, it's been a blast again, and the best of luck to England and Ireland, and I hope the best team wins. And for another issue from myself, Pat, from Derwynne Honan, from Joe Waters. Thanks, lads, for being with us, and goodbye and God bless.
See you.
Take care, boys.
Hi, everybody. Pat Barry here from SportsView on theirmedia.tv. You know you'll be with us every Monday night. Amir is our guy today in the Stade de France, and he's a soccer fan. What's your favourite team, Amir?
My favourite team is Lyon in France. Yeah.
Lyon
Huge
in
team.
France, and Barcelona.
And Barcelona, obviously, like internationally, I would say Barcelona, obviously, best team.
And of course, Barcelona, as we were saying, is a fantastic new team around there, as an emerging of a new team in Barcelona, and some very, very young talent.
Exactly.
Which are some great memories of this place here, particularly on the soccer front, you know.
Yeah.
And we won't mention tonight you were here that night, you know, with the qualifying match between Ireland and France. We didn't mention that at all today. Now we won't mention it either now, but you were.
I know it's not a good memory for.
There were some fantastic memories with France here.
Yeah,
of course, that occasion with the World Cup.
Obviously, 1998 World Cup. I was too young. I was like 2 years old. But still, I know for French people, this stadium now is a French heritage, sport heritage, because France won the World Cup, obviously. And then we had so many Champions League final here. 2000, Real Madrid against Valencia. 2006, my club Barcelona against Arsenal.
Yeah.
And then 2022, Real Madrid against Liverpool here.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Real Madrid, of course, have been the powerhouses of European soccer. You know, that incredible manager of Ancelotti. You know, I don't think he gets enough attention.
That's
myself.
true.
It's only my own opinion, but I think he must be an outstanding manager to manage all those egos.
Exactly.
All the big egos have come to the club, you know, and rightly so. I mean, they own their ego. You have Mbappe there now, who is in Real Madrid, you know.
Right now, yeah. So it's always like the case with these kind of clubs. They try to buy a lot of stars and try to make it, work. But this year they're struggling a little bit with Kylian Mbappe. But I think they're coming back, and hopefully we'll have a good rivalry. Because for the moment, at the beginning of the season, it's too easy for Barcelona.
And what about France, the state of soccer in France, national team?
So this one is the national stadium, Stade de France. So every game's at home for the national leagues. If we have like an Euro, for example, Euro 2016, we play the whole tournament here, and especially the final. And at the end of the year, we have, like in England, we have Wembley Stadium. Here we have Stade de France for the final of French Football Cup, which is Finale de la Coupe de France for the French speakers.
Yes, I'm an Indian. I don't speak for myself, for my shame, but I'm beginning to learn a little bit of it anyway. But you're outstanding, maybe. Of course, you were working here in the stadium during the recent Olympics.
Yeah. I was the accreditation manager for the Olympics. So like athletes, players, like anyone could get their accreditation to my office.
So you got to meet all the stars.
To be honest, so many stars. Yeah.
Noah.
Yannick Noah, Yeah.
Noah Miles.
Noah Lies,
Nice.
the 100 meters gold medalist.
Yes.
I had to meet also Zinedine Zidane, obviously the French goat for us.
He's a gold footballer. He's an absolutely outstanding footballer.
He is.
Just
And also artists like
Algerian.
Snoop Dogg. Algerian, yeah, background
Of
Algerian.
course, there's a huge Algerian North African connection with France.
A lot,
Anyway.
a lot.
It's historical. But I mean, Zidane was something else. If there ever was one player who could turn the whole match, he was one of the few players
He's one of them, yeah,
that
for
could win a game on his own. I know it's all cliche.
And don't forget also for the Irish people, Thierry Henry also was.
Yeah.
Because
We don't remember him now in Ireland anymore, you know. But
just forget about the handball. He was a great player. He was a legendary.
He was absolutely outstanding, you know.
Thanks to admit it. Thank you.
Particularly on the field here on the goalpost behind me, you know.
Yeah, it was on this side when France qualified for the 2010 World Cup. Yeah.
Well, it's been lovely chatting to him. It's been fantastic. You've been a fantastic host. And for all the viewers to our program on Monday night, Emmy is our new star here
Pleasure.
on SportsView. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Bye-bye.